Hey, Jason from Bohemiabees. We're here in the workshop today. It's raining here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, so we're trying to get some work done here in the spring of 2024. The nectar flow is on. We've got honey supers on, and our bees are bringing in the honey and really just growing. So we figured we would try out something that we get a lot of requests for, which is cut comb. Cut comb is really where you've taken a frame of comb and using natural foundation allowed the bees to draw out that full comb of honey and fill it with honey, full comb of wax and fill it with honey, cap it off, and then you cut out the actual pieces of comb, put it in a plastic container and sell it to your customers. We get a lot of requests for that. Of course, naturally, you've all seen the video that we've done doing the comb honey in the mason jar. That's just another way of doing it. But we're going to show you a product that we really have found fascinating. We found it at the North American Honeybee Expo. There's been a couple videos online of other beekeepers that have kind of done their review of it. We're going to do the same. We've got the SIMPLKOMB kit. And the SIMPLKOMB is a way that you can create comb honey very easily. We're going to go ahead and assemble the frames. We bought the kit that allows us to do the full super. So we've got, you know, the 9 frames here. Well, it looks like 10 frames. I apologize. It's a 10 frame super. We've got all the casings that come with it. So that came in a kit that we purchased from SIMPLKOMB at the conference. And we're going to put it together here today. We're going to show you how it works. And then hopefully we'll get some cut comb for our customers that we can sell in a very easy manner. So stay tuned. You're going to want to watch this video. This is another review of a product that we really like. We like to test new products. So you're going to want to watch this one. Stay tuned, everyone. SIMPLKOMB Super Kit. Again, it comes with 10 frames, and you can use regular medium frames according to the instructions. But what we found is we didn't know if their medium frames and the groove top and bottom were going to be the same as our medium frames, if it just would fit perfectly. So we didn't want to have that issue and just buy the casings that fit it. So we went ahead and bought the kit that allowed us to have the 10 frames. So we're assembling them now. As you can see, I got my top bars here. We put a little Tight Bond 3 on the ends of the top bars. We're dropping our side bars down so we can get them assembled, and then we'll put the bottoms on as well. This is just like assembling a standard frame. If you're a beekeeper and you have assembled a frame, if you're a beekeeper and you haven't assembled a frame, I'd be shocked, because that's definitely something that most beekeepers do lots of. In fact, we probably assemble frames in our sleep with the amount of frames that we use personally and the frames that we sell. So we're going to go ahead and glue these bottoms on. We're going to use the Tight Bond glue for the bottoms and the tops, and then we'll shoot a staple in the tops of them as well and the bottoms, just to ensure that they hold together and last us for a while, because the case sets that come with this, they can be reused. Or not, sorry, the frames can be reused, the cases cannot, because you're going to sell those. It comes pre-packaged, which is a good thing. So, and we'll look at that in just a second. I want to get all my frames assembled here, put a little glue on them. Let's do the bottom bars, and then we'll go ahead and move to the next step. So stay tuned on this. Now that we have our frames assembled, as you can see here, we're going to start to put the casings in. And these casings, the set comes with enough to do 10 frames. You can see their casings are PETE, food grade plastic. It has a tray reservoir with a honeycomb pattern on the inside for them to start to draw out the comb and guide them. It has the case coverings that when you separate them and eventually remove them, it becomes a sellable unit. So that makes it really nice. It does make for a little bit of a difficult struggle getting them inside the frame, so it takes a little bit of patience, but once you have it figured out and you've done a few, it moves pretty quickly. What I've found is if you take the top bar of the frame and you take the SIMPLKOMB sheet and you make it such so that it's essentially the flat sides on the inside, the cup side with the casing and the honeycomb is on the top, and if it's opening down, okay? And the reason why I do that is because you can take the bottom half of the casings and slide it in the groove very easily to start it off. And you can see it's in the groove now down the bottom. And then once it's in the groove, you can just hold it, flip this around, and give it a press, right? And that press will drop it through the frame if it doesn't pop out for you. But sometimes it does. If you hold it in there, and there we go, just make sure it's seated. I didn't have it seated in there. And then again, you can turn around and press it down, and it'll actually clip in. Now, what you have to pay attention to is a couple things, right? These tabs at the top all have to be out. And then on the inside, the tabs from the inside have to be in the groove up top here, and you can see they're not in there. So I just take a little tool and either manipulate it in there with my hands so that they pop in, okay? See that? And then they're all in the groove in the middle. Right? You just have to shift them around a little bit. And then once you come back over here and you've got that in, you can actually take the comb, the SIMPLKOMB from the center, and press on it. Bring these top tabs up, and it should lock into place to where it's seated the way it should be. Okay? Now it's going to move around a little bit because it's only one in there, so we just, again, hold it where it's at. If you have something that pops out, just adjust for it. Just make sure it's seated. That first one, getting the first one seated and staying in place, is, in my opinion, the hardest thing. But once you have that, you should be good to go. So it should look like that. Flip it over. Grab the next casing for the other side. Again, flip it such so the comb cup is out and it's down. So this is the top part and this is the bend at the top, essentially. This one makes it easier because you have that backing of the other one in there. You can just slide it in the groove at the bottom. Okay? And if the other one's seated, it'll slide right in. And then once you do that, you can flip this around and give it a good push. And because the other one's there, it helps guide in the pieces in the middle. Again, the top tabs should be above. And you can actually take the bottoms and give it a good push, and it'll start to lock them all into place. It doesn't always work perfect, but it does work pretty well. You can see here, this one's pretty tight. Got no issues. If you have any issues with the inside of it not seating, you can just take a small nail that we have right here and just push it into little centers and just pop them through. That's what I've found works really well to make sure it's seated in that little track. Okay, but once it's in there and you press it, it should be tight. The good news is when you put them together with another frame, you can see here how they have the little divots that when you touch together and these frames are tight, it's actually pressing them together in. So the more you have in the box, it's actually leaning on each other to help keep them all closed and tight within there. And that once the bees propolize it up, it's not moving, but it gives you the proper cavity then for the bees to move out throughout the comb and draw out that comb. So it's a pretty clever system if you ask me. We're going to continue on putting these together in this setup, and then we're going to do the next step, which we'll show you here in just a minute. Stay tuned. Okay, so we've got our simple comb in our honey super. You can see how they nicely fit within the super, and the cavity presses each one together tight, so you won't have to worry about them naturally getting behind the plastic or doing anything out of the ordinary. It looks like it pushed them together really nice, and there's a nice setup in there. Actually, one thing I did do is you'll have to push the frames to one side or center them, because you don't want the frames to be cockeyed, because they won't be aligned inside. So just a little, probably my OCD kicking in, but this is the super. We're gonna go ahead and take these out and do the next step, but I wanna show you how they look together once they're pressed in place. The next step of this is actually waxing the frames and putting a coating of wax on here. So we're gonna go ahead and get some wax warmed up and melted to rub on these, and then we're gonna go ahead and get them ready to go out to the apiary. Stay tuned. All right, for the next part of the process, we're going to brush some wax, some melted wax on the simple comb frames in order for the bees to start to draw out and give them a way to draw it out cleanly and start to build that honeycomb. We've got a little bit of natural beeswax from our cappings melting over here, so it's clean beeswax, and we're gonna wait for that to melt, and then we'll brush it on with a standard paintbrush. Let's get back to mining our beeswax. Okay, so you see we've done a quick coating, and you want to make sure that you just keep it free from any dirt and debris, because remember, this is a consumable item, so you want to keep it as clean as possible. And you don't need a lot of wax, you just need enough to coat it a little bit. It's actually a little bit more than I would like, but just enough. If you move quickly and spread it around, you actually can coat it enough for them to draw it out. That's really all you need. Okay, we're going to continue on to do that to all these and get them back in the super for the next step. Time to head out to the yard. Get this super put on. Okay, so one of the next steps in the process is to get that super put on a strong colony. This is a colony from last year that overwintered. You can see we have a queen right dial down here, which is another product. You can go to queenrightdial.com to find more information about that. But it's a last year's mated queen and double deep, which we typically don't run double deeps here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland in the Bohemiabees apiary, but several other colonies that were weaker, or if we had any extra frames or we wanted to build them up and bolster them as they came out through winter, we would double them up in order to get ready for the honey flow here in the spring. This is a packed colony, and that's what you need. You need a strong colony for this simple comb to build out that cut comb, or that comb, draw the comb out, fill it with honey in a short period of time. But let's go ahead and get into the colony real quick. It's kind of raining and sprinkling right here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, so we're not going to be out here too long. We want to quickly get this super on before it gets too wet and the bees get too agitated. Let's get in the hive. All right, so you can see we have the colony right here, and I'm just cracking the lid back. You can see how packed that upper box is. So that's really nice. I'm just going to shoot some smoke in here, get them to go down between the frames so I can pop that inner cover off, slide a queen excluder on. We have a queen excluder, and then we have our box with our simple comb in it. All right. Go ahead and crack that lid. I really like using these inner covers just because they allow me to see the bees when I lift the lid off. That's a separate link in a separate video. I'm just going to transport that over there. Take the queen excluder. And you'll want to use a queen excluder with this because you do not want the queen to come up in your super to build out any, we're gonna actually flip that because that's bent, so it sits lower. There you go. Make sure that's squared up on there. Let's go ahead and transfer this over real quick. Let's peek inside here. What I've done up here is I've pushed all the comb to one side so it aligns. That's the one thing that I find works the best, because you need those pins in between, those plastic press them tight together to be all aligned tight. So I'm going to pull them all forward so you can see here they're all aligned. Let's move this over to the super, over to the deep. All right, so we've got, again, a double deep full of bees, brood, last year's queen, with our new SIMPLKOMB super on top to help draw out that SIMPLKOMB style cut comb. Now we've got to wait. We have to wait for the bees to do their thing. This rain is actually pretty good, and here on the Eastern Shore we've had a little too much of it, but it's keeping the nectar flow going. There's lots of flora around. The black locust is still here. Tulip poplar hasn't even bloomed yet. Clover hasn't even really bloomed yet. It's starting to. So we've got a lot of opportunity for a lot of good nectar to get inside, or honey to get inside this SIMPLKOMB. So let's get this thing closed up, get these bees working, and we'll check back on this probably within a week to see how they're doing, and then I'll give you an update.
Eventually.
Okay, it's been a couple months. We actually came and checked on this colony with the SIMPLKOMB on it, and about a month ago, I guess it would have been mid-July. So if you remember, we put this on in May, mid-May, right before the nectar flow really started to get going. They had to draw out those frames on the SIMPLKOMB. We waxed them. They need to draw them out, fill them with nectar, cap them, and now we're coming back to pull them. We just finished up our harvest here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and we pulled a lot of other supers. We've made some splits. If you remember, this colony had a double deep on top of it. We've since made a split on that colony to start a new colony. So for redundancy purposes, still a lot of bees in this colony to finish up the SIMPLKOMB, but we're hoping that the cut comb came out the way we wanted it. So let's get into this hive and see what we got. Okay, so as we pull supers off, we put our protective gear on naturally. You may see us wear no protective gear sometimes, but when you pull honey, they're going to be very defensive. So hopefully they're going to be a little bit calmer for us today. It's a nice, mild, warm day here in August. It's about mid-August. So let's take a look at what we got, and hopefully they did their job. Very exciting. It's my first time using the SIMPLKOMB, and as you saw in the video, we built up to this point, and now let's see if we can find out how they did. I want to pull a frame out of the side here just to look. Trying not to smoke down in here because it's cut comb, and I don't really want to put smoke on that. So look at that. We're tearing some of it. It looks like they did finish it off. A couple sides. Pull it out. There you go, folks. There's what it looks like. We've got a couple good solid pieces here. We'll clean this up, shake the bees off. I tore up a little bit of that side. They got a little thick on that side. So that happens, unfortunately. So far, it looks to be pretty good. Let's get these bees out of this, and then get this super taken off. I'm gonna set that one to the side so I can actually pull this off. Pull our queen excluder off. You can see a good finished comb in there. Let's get this out of here. I'm going to take this queen excluder off, set to the side, let them clean that up. Good strong colony here. You can see the use of the queen rate dial. Tell us that this is the last year's queen. Good bee volume. They're going to continue to go into winter very strong. We're going to take our SIMPLKOMB, bring it back to the shop, and get it set up. Stay tuned. I'll take you back in the shop. Okay, so we've got them back here in the honey house, and I wanted to show everyone what the results were. We've got to clean these up still. But all in all, we've got, so in a frame, in a SIMPLKOMB box, there's 10 frames, 8 slots, 8 pieces like this. So if you'd imagine them in there, if you saw on our other one, look like this. There's 4 on one side, 4 on the other side. What we found was there was a good portion of about 50 or 60 of them were, I wouldn't say perfect, but they were next to perfect. And we could close them easily and call them a sellable product. Some of them, of course, naturally did not get completed, as you can see here. Others got completed, and the bottom half maybe didn't get completed. But for the most part, about 56% were sellable right out. Well, sellable within a caveat to that. We got to clean them up still and close them and label them. So one thing I did notice is that we get a lot of burr comb along the edges of these. Okay, so while this could be a sellable unit right out of that box, it still needs some cleanup. There's some honey that's sticky on it. I got to clean those edges up a little bit. So it's not 100% perfect. Now, a few of them look, you know, this is pretty clean. I mean, we'll clean that one up really easily and that'll sell. So when you get them out of the actual SIMPLKOMB, they come out one on the side, and you break them off like you see here, and then you flip and fold it closed like you see. This side's on the other side. So when I pull these out, I'm taking them and I'm tearing them sort of in the individual sellable units, just like you see here, right? And just even by doing this process, you can see I'm getting honey. You know, it's not perfect. I got to come back and clean it up, but if you close them up directly, you can see there's a sellable unit again, right? That's a nice looking one, a little bit of stickiness, sellable unit. Another one right here. Now, the one thing we did all notice is if it bulges like that, it's kind of hard to close that lid, and the honey kind of smushes around. So I'm not sure what the recommendation is for that. They don't really, and then they don't really close. You got to tape them closed. Again, it's not 100% perfect. You're not going to get 80 individual perfect selling pieces. Maybe you will. Maybe that's something that we just did wrong and we just need to continue to test it. My overall review of this product has been fairly good, fairly positive. If you keep in mind that maybe you sell these for $5 or $10 a piece, you know, most cut comb chunks inside of a container can be sold for, you know, $20 sometimes, because people love cut comb, depending on the part of the country you're in and such. But I would say that if you can clean these up, put a nice label on the front of them, there's about, you know, 45 or so units here. If I sell them for even $10 a piece, there's $450. If I sell them for $5, you know, that's $225. That more than pays for the actual super unit that you have put out there. Now, remember, these are not reusable. Maybe some of them are, but probably not. We would pull them out and get new sheets to put back in there. But again, my opinion of this is still very high. Good revenue, a little bit more work than I thought. You have to have a really good flow for them to fill these up and cap them the right way. There are some concerns I have with a lot of the burr comb and or cross, you know, any type of cross comb, tearing, dripping of honey, that kind of stuff. Cleanup is a little bit more than I thought, but overall, I'm very happy with this SIMPLKOMB product. Bruce's Bees did a review on this as well, and I think his review was also positive. So I'll put a link in the description below of the SIMPLKOMB product where you can get it at. It's a father and daughter or a small beekeeper inventor that came up with this, and I think they did a good job. Maybe some tweaking on making them a little easier to load in the frames, maybe some thought or feedback around how to clean them up a little bit better. Maybe is there a limit that you should really leave them in the hive and then take them out? Maybe you shouldn't leave them longer than normal. Again, I don't know what causes a little bit more of that or a little less of that, but it is simple. And it is a way to get comb, naturally drawn comb that you can eat at your customer's fingertips. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, we're going to get these all cleaned up, get them for sale, and put them on our website. Potentially, we can ship them. If I can get confidence in that they won't open. If not, then I'll sell them locally at the local farmer's market. But they're a great, interesting, inventive product. I love when people are innovative in this beekeeping space. The SIMPLKOMB is definitely innovative from the traditional way we've done cut comb. I like them. We'll probably try them again next year. Maybe we'll get another set or another super to try 2 or 3 of them. But we'll definitely try them. So thanks for everything they do over at SIMPLKOMB. Thanks for coming up with an innovative product, making cut comb easy, cut comb simple, SIMPLKOMB. Again, I purchased this. I did not get endorsement from SIMPLKOMB. They didn't give it to me. I tried it because I wanted to be very unbiased. But that's my review. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Took a little time for us to make this one and tie it all back together. But appreciate you watching here at Bohemiabees Apiary, where beekeeping for us is, well, it's definitely more than a hobby. It's kind of an obsession. Thanks for watching, everyone.